22, don't get me wrong, but they've added lots of Super League fringe players. They've brought Ben Crooks in, haven't they, as one of the big name signings they've got for next year. But the Marchioni signed for him as well today.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So they're bringing in players who have been at top of the league, championship players. So they're making their intentions clear, I would say. I think they don't want to become a yo-yo team, do they? I think they want to, now they're in the championship again, they want to stay there. And the signings are the indication that they're going the right way about it.
Yep, and then there was the NRL Grand Final as well. People with an eye on the World Cup would have had an eye on this game because half of the Samoan side that's going to face England in Newcastle was playing in this match. It finished the Panthers 28, the Eels 12. I don't know how much either of you two saw of this one. David, did you catch this one?
Yeah, I saw the game actually. I watched almost all of it, although I must admit I lost a bit of interest in the second half because it had been so one-sided. The score probably didn't reflect, I didn't think anyway, the Panthers' dominance of the game. The Eels were hanging on a lot, I thought. It was good. The Panthers are a brutal side, aren't they? I mean, they really are. They've got some class in the backs. I like Luai, the standoff. We're going to see him playing for Samoa, I think, aren't we? But it's the overall strength across the park that makes them such a formidable outfit to play against. They're a brutal side, very, very quick on defence, and very, very good in the carry, and so fast. I mean, it just wears teams down. It's like an NRL version of the way Saints have played this year. What I mean is they're obviously doing it a lot better. What I mean is we play a similar style of rugby where it's not hugely creative at times. It's absolutely brutal, both on defence and sort of carrying the ball in attack.
Yeah, I think that first half in this game was one of the most dominant halves of rugby league I've seen. Like the Panthers took a penalty goal at one point. It was like, what's the point? Because they're just gonna they're just like letting the Eels off the hook for a little bit. But then they were back camped on the Eels line pretty much straight away after that kickoff anyway, and scored a try a few minutes later. And so it didn't really have that letting them off feel because they got the foot back on the throat anyway. They were absolutely immense. Their level of dominance in the big games that they've played in these final series, I think, has shown that they are an absolute class above. They won the NRL minor premiership by with 6 or 7 rounds to go, didn't they? They were well, streets ahead of the rest of the league, and that final, I think, showed it absolutely. And one of the main hopes for England is that this game was only less than 2 weeks before the first game of the World Cup, and these guys won't have been ready to come over right away.
They're going to be a bit underdone. I don't think there's any doubt about that, and that can only help England, that's for sure. But it'll be fascinating to see because there's 8 of the Samoa team played in this game, 6 for the Panthers and 2 for the Eels. So it will be absolutely fascinating to see, and a proper benchmark of where we are, not just as a team, but as a league, to see how well England go against Samoa, albeit that they're bound to be a little bit underdone.
Yeah, for sure. But the Panthers, absolutely the class of the NRL again this year, and deserved their title. Right, that's other results covered. We're now going to move into what the main part of this show is, which is the Super League Pod Awards. Right, the Sloppies, guys. For the 9th time.
Let's get sloppy.
Let's get sloppy indeed, Al. We're going to start with one of the awards we introduced sort of halfway through the run of the Sloppies, but I think it's been quite a more popular one than I expected. And this year, actually, was the most respectful. I think I only had to delete 5 or 6 people saying they're all shit. And that's, of course, the Match Official of the Year award. It doesn't get as many votes as the main award, but this year it got the most votes it's ever had. Previous winners. David, do you want to take us through the previous winners?
Yes, I will. So previous winners going from 2018, we had Ben Thaler and Robert Hicks jointly winning it in 18. Robert Hicks out on his own in 2019. Chris Kendall in 2020, and last year it was Liam Moore.
Yeah, and who did you go for this year then, David?
I went for Liam Moore again.
Not Chris Kendall?
This year. No.
All Saints fans would have been going for Chris Kendall.
Yes, no, I don't know whether other Saints colleagues may have gone for Kendall, but no, I went for Liam Moore. He was my vote of for the referee of the year. To be honest, the best refereeing performance of the year that I saw was, and I still can't remember his name, was the ref we had in the last game of the season at Saints, the last league game of the season at Saints, was against Toulouse. I'm going to find out who he was again, and I'll keep my eye out for him because he had a very, very good game. But anyway, I voted for Liam. What did you do, Alan?
I agreed with you on this one. I went for Liam Moore. He was my pick for the grand final referee, so I stuck to my guns, and I think he probably, for me, he's been the most consistent referee this year in a tricky year for referees, I think it's fair to say.
You had a Mr. Smale in the game against Toulouse. Not someone I'm familiar with.
Excellent. He was excellent. First time I've ever seen him ref, and he was really, really good.
I thought Liam Moore refereed the grand final well. I thought that was his best refereeing performance of the whole year. I think we talked about that, didn't we, David, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah,
but I actually had put my votes in already at that point, because if I don't put them in first, then I forget that I've done them. Robert Hicks I went for, because up to that point, his refereeing of the Huddersfield-Salford playoff game I thought was the best refereeing performance I'd seen this year. Like Alan says, in a year that hasn't been a strong year, or it has been, a challenging year for referees, what Alan said. I'd say it's not been a strong year for referees, but that doesn't mean that they don't deserve calling out for credit where it's been. And because I thought that was the best performance I'd seen, then up to that point I went Robert Hicks. But the overall winner with 62% of the votes was Liam Moore. Scoots declined to vote in this one. I'm surprised she didn't vote for up and coming young referee, star of the Hull Referee Society junior setups and the Yorkshire League's finals of the junior setups, Joshua. He didn't get any votes, but I think in time to come he'll be getting a lot of attention as a referee. But Liam Moore gets the main award, so back to back for Liam Moore. 62% of the vote. You guys are obviously in agreement with that.
Yes. Yep, absolutely.
I'm surprised it wasn't a bit more split than that, to be honest.
Yeah, no, the only person who came anywhere close, I think, was Hicks, really. James Child, Jack Smith, Chris Kendall, from Saints fans, I think, Ben Thaler, and a referee who referees the lower grades called Brad Milligan. They all got votes this year. I nearly missed Ben Thaler's off because I couldn't believe anyone voted for Ben Thaler this year. He only refereed about a third of the year, didn't he? But there were some votes made for people that didn't count, that weren't just refs are shit. Someone voted for the Hull KRE stand, which is a funny joke from a Hull FC fan, I'm sure. Someone voted for Paul Cullen because they couldn't think of anywhere else to put Paul Cullen into their awards form. But Paul Cullen was voted for on the basis of basically annoying Leeds and Saints fans every week.
re-refereeing the games every week. Yeah.
Even though Paul Culler's only one part of the match review panel, he is the most visible and most famed part, I suppose. But those 2 votes didn't count towards the end, the overall thing. But thanks for those. That gave us a little laugh. Let's move on to the Best Brit Award, Best Brit Abroad Award. Al, do you want to take us through the previous winners?
Yes. So in 2018, it was Gareth Widdop. Remember him? In 2019,
Castleford's Gareth Widdop now.
That's the one.
St George's at the time.
2019 was John Bateman in his first year at Canberra. 2020, George Williams in his first year at Canberra. And 2021, Elliot Whitehead in definitely not his first year in Canberra.
No, he's the only one that's won it that hasn't come back yet. So, Alan, David, and Sarah all abstained from this one. To be honest, I haven't watched a lot of NRL this year. And when I do watch the NRL, I don't watch the Newcastle Knights. But what I have done consistently through the year is notice news stories about Dom Young. So I've clicked on them and I've watched his highlights and I've seen him scoring tries. Not really been fully aware of his overall performances. But the fact that he's had such a successful try scoring season, I think made him stand out for me. So I went for Dom Young in this award. There were a few contenders. We allowed the vote for Victor Radley to get counted, considering he's turning out for England this time around. One vote that didn't count, and EFC 78JU last year went for Liam Marshall in this category. So this year he went for Matt Duffy. I don't know if EFC understands, because it didn't count in the overall votes. He's Australian and definitely isn't playing for any British teams in the World Cup, as far as I checked all the squads just to. Yeah, you're gonna have to explain yourself, EFC. But Matt Duffy did not count. The winner, with 45% of the votes, was Dom Young. Probably a chance to pause and get our predictions on will Dom Young edge out Ryan Hall for that starting wing spot after his one try assist, 2 bomb tries as well to balance it out, but a great overall performance from Dom Young in the Fiji warm-up game. Alan, do you see him getting ahead of Ryan Hall, or do you think the squad numbers have kind of suggested where Wayne's going, with Hall getting the 5 jersey and Young getting 14, I think?
That might just be just to throw you off the scent. I would probably play Dom Young just as a bit of a difference maker, potentially.
Yeah, I'd be playing him. David, would you be playing him?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think we've got. I don't think we've got enough really talented backs that we can afford to turn our nose up at somebody who's got that skill set. Not only is he, big and strong, which of course Ryan Hall is, but he's quick, still quick, and I think you've got to go with this fella. That's the first time I've really watched him play. And I thought he was really good.
It was really 2 tries, wasn't it? Because he assisted the Williams try as well with his break that Williams set him free amazingly on with quick hands. But yeah, I agree. So us 3 would all be playing him. Obviously, Eddie Hemming slipped himself into further irrelevancy with his ridiculous fucking comments. But so he might not be picking him, but we are. Yeah, Farnworth and Burgess came closest to Young, actually, but they only got 18% of the votes. So Young won this by some margin. Thompson, Whitehead, Sutton, and Victor Radley all got votes that counted as well. Let's move on to another one of the awards that we introduced later on. Championship or League One Player of the Year. So this is kind of pretty wide open, even though it's been won by the same person a couple of times. Do you want to tell us who's won it previously, Alan?
Yes. So in 2018, it was Jonathan Ford. John Wilkin won it in 2019. No award in 2020 with the much shortened
6 games
season.
wasn't enough, was it, to give an award for?
Absolutely not. And in 2021,